When I first played Borderlands way back on my Xbox 360, I really wasn't a fan at first. My friends really enjoyed the game. I don't know, it just never captured me. It didn't get me right away. But then once I left the first area and started handling things, my own way, and started really opening up to the plethora of weaponry that was at hand, then it grabbed me. And I then proceeded to buy multiple versions on multiple platforms of the various games throughout the years. And guess what? Now I have it on Nintendo Switch in the Legendary Collection. It was about 4 to 5 months after the Switch release that I thought to myself, I wonder what the Borderlands games would be like on Switch. I feel like they'd be really good on the Switch. And then we got a Borderlands remaster, the first game, and no word of it coming to Switch, and no word of anything coming to Switch, so I just kind of gave up on it. I thought, I guess it's just not coming, and then all of a sudden, 2K announces, hey, it's coming to the Switch. It wasn't until they announced the games on the Switch, and then I actually got to have it in my hands and play it, both on the screen and in handheld mode, that I realized there were a few reasons why I really wanted these games almost immediately after I got my hands on a Switch and got to see the hardware in work. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So hopefully you've made it through my really boring intro so we can get to those points. Or maybe you just hung around because you saw this beautiful beard in the thumbnail and thought, I'm going to watch what this guy's talking about Borderlands. Either way, I'm glad you stuck through. Let's get to those points. I've never really been into looter shooters. There are some of them that I kind of liked and I got into a little bit, but nothing to the extent that I got into with Borderlands. Like, nothing compares. The Borderlands games are the looter shooters that I got into, okay? And I loved Borderlands because you could play in long, for long sessions, long periods of time, or you could play for short bursts and then go do what you want to do. So when I first started years and years ago, I would play much longer sessions, but as I've gotten older, as my family's grown, that's kind of changed, where sometimes I can play long sessions and sometimes I just cannot. I go out and I have 15 minutes in between hanging out with my kids and doing stuff around the house or doing other things, right? Or making these lovely videos for you lovely people. They were very versatile. The games, they could appeal to the, let's sit down and take on a bunch of missions and let's do a bunch of stuff together, or, do it by yourself, or just, I'm going to play for 15 minutes, bust out a couple missions, and then move on. And it fits so well on the Switch because the Switch hardware caters to that same type of gameplay, that versatility between, yeah, sure, I could sit down and play for a long period of time, or I can play for 15 minutes, or I could play for half an hour, or I could play, when I'm laying down to go to bed and I've got 20 minutes before I actually get tired and fall asleep. Or I could throw it up on the TV and play for a couple of hours. It really goes hand in hand. The software and the hardware really go hand in hand, and they're really kind of cut from the same cloth, in my opinion. There's nothing like being out in the living room and playing in handheld mode while my wife watches something that, whatever. I just want to be in the same room as her. I don't really care what's on the TV. And she's watching something, and I'm playing Borderlands, and then she falls asleep, and I go, cool, pop it up on the TV, and now I can play. Or I could stop playing, and hey, let's go to bed. They just work so well together, the software and the hardware, and they complement each other. And so that's one reason why I'm really glad Borderlands is on Switch, and it's just so amazing on the Switch. Nintendo consoles are typically seen as kiddie systems, meaning most of the games on their systems are directed more towards a younger audience. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case, that's exactly what it is, but kind of a general perception is Nintendo systems are seen as kiddie systems, right? They are rated E for everyone. And though there are many games available to all ages on Nintendo hardware, and especially the Switch, and, they're colorful and distinct art styles, all that stuff, the Switch is home to mature games as well, and teen games, a lot more of those. But what works about the Borderlands series and these mature games is the art style fits somehow. And what I mean by that is that here are these violent, bloody, shoot people in the face games that are very, very mature, but the art style and the presentation and all of that just fits somehow on the Switch hardware. Like, it just seems like it's right at home, and I can't really explain it other than that, and maybe I'm just being stupid or crazy here. I play Witcher 3 on the Switch. I love Witcher 3 on the Switch. I'm glad it's on the Switch because I can play those giant games and be able to finish them in a reasonable amount of time. But there's something about the Borderlands games and their aesthetic and the way they look that just seem at home on a Nintendo system, even though they're extremely mature. The final thing that really made me realize why I wanted the Borderlands games on the Switch is the nature of the game itself, and the games themselves. So not only are they versatile, long sessions, short sessions, the art style and the aesthetic fits a Nintendo system somehow, but these games are, though I really enjoy playing them single player by myself, playing with friends, whether locally or online, it's definitely the best way to play these games. It is just so great. It's so fun. It's great. It's a great time. And that very nature, that multiplayer feel to these games, that like grab a friend and go shoot some enemies in the face and take their loot kind of a thing. Man, that sounds terrible. Really, again, complements the Switch hardware, right? The Switch is portable, really easy to take over to somebody else's house and pop into the TV, or just bring over and set into tabletop mode. The two Joy-Cons pop out and can each become a single Joy-Con for certain games. It lends itself to in a party system way. There are many multiplayer and party system games on the Switch of all different varieties, and this is another one of those games, albeit a very different one and a very violent, mature one. But the nature of the Switch hardware, again, is complemented and complements the nature of these games, that multiplayer aspect of playing with others, playing locally. And I've really enjoyed playing. I've gotten to test it out a little bit, and it's fun. A few little things here and there that I was like, that's kind of a pain, but it's been great, and it lends itself incredibly well to the Switch hardware. And once again, the nature of each really complements each other. I freaking enjoy these games, and I'm honestly playing these games on the Switch is my preferred way to play, just because of the three things that we just went over. So if you're here at the end of the video, you're looking for the too long didn't read recap, well, here it is. So point one, it just, the nature of the games, being able to play for long sessions or play for short bursts, really complements the Switch hardware and vice versa. The aesthetics of the game, even though they're violent and bloody and crazy, the aesthetic and the art style really fit on Nintendo Switch somehow. That cartoony look to it, and the cell shading and the dark outlines. And then number three, the fact that that emphasis on play with your buds, and it's just so fun to play with others and play these games, really works well on the Switch, which itself lends to that multiplayer aspect, playing with others, doing things with other people, play these games, and it just works so well with the hardware. I can't get enough of these games on Switch, and now that we've gotten 1, 2, and the pre-sequel, here's the hope in Borderlands 3 is on its way at some point, maybe? Probably not, but maybe. Thanks for watching, and maybe you have some opinions on the Borderlands games on the Nintendo Switch. Maybe you love them, maybe you hate them, maybe you're just a fan of the series in general. Leave your comments below, tell me about it, I'd like to hear about it. Be sure to like this video if you liked it, you enjoyed what you saw, and be sure to subscribe. That'd be awesome. Appreciate you watching, take it easy, catch you next time.